Right there. Ha! There. Yeah, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. You are going. That's not good enough.
All right, we are back. Back with
Zoids
Zoids.
Battle Legends.
It's been a while. All right, we are back. Back with Zoids. We'll also be reacting to this Charlie Kirk debate between Pisco and PF Jung. And yeah, so I guess the question is Charlie Kirk a fascist or not? Pretty crazy accusation, right? Imagine calling someone a fascist. That's like committing a Holocaust right there. Hold on. They got freaking tigers with freaking laser beams on their freaking heads. Alright.
Zoids Battle Legends.
Ooh, okay. So let's get this started.
Foremost, so it's a set of political ideas that, and there's an archetype here, where the archetype is Mussolini's fascist state. And just like any category, it's levels of proximity, degrees of proximity close to that archetype being Mussolini's fascist state. And those, it's a cluster concept, and those clusters include ultranationalism, high degrees of ultranationalism, high degrees of reactionary right-wing political ideology, authoritarianism. So this is the notion that there are no checks on the leader's power, mythology, and mythologizing. So basically, either a racial historical myth-making. In the case of the Nazis, it's this Aryan racial hierarchy. In the case of Mussolini, maybe Rome, right? This glorious past to go back to. Where conspiracy is at the center of that political ideology as well. And ultimately, the exercise of military power.
No one ever gives a good definition.
So it's a political...
But, whoops. He actually gave a pretty good definition here. I hate the 14 points that everybody goes to. Let me bring this up real fast, because 14 points, fascism. Okay, so it was written by Umberto Eco, who is, I think, an author who studied fascism, so, excuse me, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, he doesn't know, or how do I put this? He knows quite a lot about fascism, right? I would assume that he does, but still, I think that his definition of it, maybe some of these would just maybe worded a little bit differently. Like, there's a lot I agree with here, but there's some that I don't. So, like, number one, the cult of tradition. Yes, I think that's a pretty accurate description of fascism. Two, the rejection of rationalism. Maybe. Wait, what the heck? These are different ones. The hell? Okay, this one. Okay. This is the one that I always see. Number one, Powerful and continuing nationalism. That's such a stupid definition. What does that mean? Powerful and continuing. Like, okay, it's not a fascism if, like, you know, you do a little bit of nationalism that's like, you know, if it lasts longer than 72 hours, you got to see your doctor. No, this is continuing nationalism. So now it's the real fascism. Just say nationalism or ultranationalism, okay? I don't word it this way. Disdain for human rights. Not necessarily a disdain for human rights, but more of a, like, an antipathy to it. Am I using that term right? Antipathy versus, instead of apathy? Dislike, aversion. Oh, okay, never mind, I am using it incorrectly. More of like a, actually, am I? And antipathy. Okay, yeah, I guess I was probably using it incorrectly. Natural, basic, or repugnance. Yeah, okay, so no, more of a apathy. Okay, disdain for, so yeah, they have more of a, not like a necessarily a disdain. Sometimes they see it as an obstacle, that's when it becomes a disdain, but in general, they have more of a, like an apathy towards human rights. They don't care one way or the other. They won't let them get in the way of what they want to do. Identification of enemies as a unifying cause. I think that is a very, very apt and inappropriate definition of fascism or constituent feature. Supremacy of the military. I would say instead of this, just militarism, because everybody wants the supremacy of their military. But more accurately, it's militarism that fascism tends to have a feature of. Rampant sexism. I wouldn't necessarily put it this way, I would just put it more of like, there's a gendered hierarchy that is heavily enforced, with men being on top. Or like a heavily enforced patriarchal kind of hierarchy. Controlled mass media, that is very true. Obsession with national security, I think that, yeah, that, like, this is a huge talking point of fascism. Religion and government intertwined. Yes, I don't think all fascist movements do this, but a lot of them will do this. I think it's more appropriate to say tradition and government intertwined, or ethnicity and government intertwined, or maybe there's a different word that encapsulates all three of those. Corporate power protected. That's kind of a stupid one. What does that mean, right? Like, even in free countries, corporate power is protected in the sense that corporations have rights. I think really what they're trying to say here is that it's like a corporatist. But I don't think that's true. I don't think fascism actually has a strong economic ideological leaning one way or the other. The term third positionist was used to describe the Nazis because they weren't like hardcore capitalists or hardcore socialists. They were like, you know, oh, we'll just use a little bit of whatever works. Fascism's economic principle is more accurately described as autarky. Autarky is the economics of self-sufficiency, meaning it's basically like nationalism applied to their economics. So fascism isn't really even about economics necessarily or per se, it's more about that nationalism. And so even their economics, insofar as there is a unifying economic pattern that we see with fascism, it's not capitalism, it's not socialism, it's not even centrism on the economic spectrum. It's literally just, it's just autarky. And autarky can manifest in different ways because the whole idea is that they're kind of like economic isolationists. They don't want to be reliant on other countries. They only trust themselves and their nation. And so they try to isolate themselves economically in that sense. Anyways, so labor power suppressed. I'd have to, I don't know about this one. I'd have to look into it more. Either way, I don't feel like this is like a major, like fundamental feature of fascism. I feel like they are including this corporate power and labor one. Whoever wrote this is probably coming from a left-wing perspective. Disdain for, because the left and the right both try to do it. The left try to go, oh, we're not fascists, you're the fascist. And the right tries to go, oh, we're not the fascists, National Socialism, right? And it's really like, well, fascism really isn't about economics, so you see it, you know, manifest on the left and the right and the center. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Yes, I think that's generally true. Or I would say like hostility towards alternative academia or arts. Obsession with crime and punishment, very true, very like law and order kind of rhetoric. Rampant cronyism and corruption, that's true, which is the ironic, it's fascist, the leadership, They're projectionists. Their entire thing is they point the finger at everyone else's direction. This person's coming out to get you. This person's trying to replace you. This person is trying to take away your rights, you know, X, Y, and Z. This person's trying to take away your culture and your tradition, blah, blah, blah. We need to bring back law and order. There's too many criminals. We need to fight corruption. Meanwhile, they are doing rampant cronyism and corruption when you do put them in power. In fraudulent elections, I would say illiberal in like the truest sense of the word, meaning that the idea that you have a representative government. Fascist leadership does not like that. They try to move towards consolidation of power. Anyways, let's get on with this.
With those various archetypes that I described. And that, I think, is the best way to put it.
What percent of people or instances of people getting called fascist nowadays have that definition in mind, you think?
I'm not sure.
If you had to hazard a guess based on your...
I truly don't know. I don't have a good sense of that kind of polling.
Okay, tell me, is the overwhelming majority of people getting... Like, was Charlie Kirk a fascist?
I believe he was.
You do believe Charlie Kirk was a fascist?
I do.
Can you be a fascist and a good person?
This is a based
question.
and true take.
I think the answer is...
very unpopular to hear, but yes, Charlie Kirk was a fascist. That doesn't mean, oh, you know, he should have got shot for his opinion. Free speech in the United States has always included you have the right to advocate for racism and fascism and bigotry and homophobia and all that shit. But I also have the right to just criticize you for it and call you out for it. So Charlie Kirk was a fascist. What he advocated for was a dictator. He advocated for Donald Trump. He campaigned for him. He fundraised for Donald Trump. Donald Trump tried to overthrow the government of the United States in 2021. If you know enough about politics, you know enough about the Constitution, you know enough about the history of the United States, you know that what he tried to do on January 6th, both with his crowd and with the electoral plot that he was working behind the scenes, was the most corrupt, most authoritarian, most closest the United States has come to basically being destroyed by an enemy, foreign or domestic, was Donald Trump on January 6th. Charlie Kirk is smart enough to know all of that. Charlie Kirk just does not care about democracy or republic or any of that shit. His number one priority is creating an authoritarian state underneath his religious ethos. Christo-fascism, or in other words, this new brand of fascism that's an American in nature, where religion is really used to consolidate kind of cultural domination to then use to funnel people into your political project. And it also shows up in all the policy positions that he supported. He wanted separation of church and state to not be a thing, so that they could use the United States to rule via religious mandate. He was against the Civil Rights Act. He was against gay marriage. He was against transsexuals. He was against, transgender people. He was against, like, all manner. And, I mean, he would talk so openly about, black people, minorities not being qualified to be in positions that they're in due to, like, affirmative action, DEI. And the thing is, he would obsess over, like, crime statistics of minorities. There's a pattern that people exhibit when they always highlight the most negative things they can about a certain group, or they ignore, like, kind of the nuances and stuff like that. The way Charlie Kirk talked about minorities, he didn't respect minorities. He didn't think that we should have the civil rights. And he always highlighted negatives that he could find within them. And he used DEI and affirmative action to justify how every black person that he knew, even in positions of great authority and power, who have a track record, he would just insinuate that they were dumb, that they were stupid, that they didn't belong in the position that they were in. His whole ethos, the whole, thing that he espoused was just basically undermining minorities in this country as second-class citizens, undermining their rights, and wanting to install a dictator. He was, by all definition, a fascist, whether you like it or not. That's just true. And if you like him, maybe that does say something about yourself, but that's not my fucking problem. That's your problem.
We live in complicated times, Pisco.
So, like, Oskar Schindler was a Nazi, And I take whether you're a good person to be some sort of composite of all the things you have done in the past. And so I think it's possible for there to be good fascists, but it's hard.
Do you have roughly the same opinion on fascism as you do communism?
What do you mean by that?
Do you regard both as bad?
Yes.
Interesting. All right, so Charlie Kirk's a fascist. Interesting. I guess this is part of my issue. Part of
The question that he asks is an interesting question because I run into this question a lot with a lot of right-wingers. Or they'll constantly bring up communism when you talk about fascism. And there's a little bit of a weird reaction going on there that I like to take note of at the very least, or I'll point out, which is that why is it that you can't just say that fascism is bad? Why can't you just, articulate concepts against it? Why can't you just push back against it without always trying to have like this defensiveness where you're like, okay, well, what about communism then? Why are you defensive? Unless you're sympathetic to fascism, why the fuck are you freaking out? And do you need to find like some kind of left-wing extremism to, I don't know, like make things seem more equal and even? Like, why is that your impulse? And look at the flip side of this. Look at Pisco's reaction. Oh, do you think communism is bad? Yeah, I think communism is bad too. Not very hard for him. He doesn't need to like, oh well, communism is bad, but what about this? And what about this other thing? Because Pisco's probably not a communist. So Pisco's just, yeah, that's fine. I don't like communism either. But why the impulse to bring up like in a defensive fashion? But what about communism?
Yeah, part of my issue is the term gets thrown around so much, and it describes, I don't know, 40% of the country, let's say.
And that might be the case, and that might be true, and that might, frankly speaking, be the fault of people like P.F. Jung, who help normalize these ideas by constantly doing like, I don't know if we can call that fascist, we shouldn't call that fascist, these people, there's just conscientious objectors, Donald Trump isn't that bad, the Trump supporters, what they're advocating for, they don't really mean what they mean, Elon Musk wasn't trying to do Nazi salute, and it's like, well, maybe you're just normalizing amongst the population. You ever think that? Maybe that's why we're at the place that we are, and it might actually be, something like 30, 40% of the population. Because of you guys, what you guys did.
Because that's probably the number of people that agree with Charlie Kirk. To a significant enough extent that he would be called a fascist. What particularly would you? What has Charlie Kirk said that would make him be a fascist? You think?
I think the key indicators to me are, one, his support for authoritarian government. He tried to overturn a free and fair election. He supported the actions of Trump, who I think operates as a fascist. So therefore, he's providing ideological support of and devotion to a leader who I take to be fascist, given his policies and given what he wants to see. I think that he embodies a lot of the archetypes that I've described, including ultra-conservatism, ultra-nationalism, believing in some of this, conspiratorial myth-making that I talked about, and yeah, so I think that he aligns closely, not perfectly. No one's going to be perfect with the kind of archetype that I've described. And can I push you a little bit? So my question for you is: do you agree that fascism is bad and communism is bad?
Well, not if it.
Is communism bad? Yes or no?
Well, hold on. If we're defining, if Charlie Kirk is a fascist, then fascism is clearly not as bad as I would have thought.
Well, I guess I'll just ask the question.
Fascism,
I'll ask the question.
That might actually be the case, because a lot of people don't know what the term is, and they just think it means, oh, bad person, right? Well, yeah, I agree that fascism is bad, but it's an actual political ideology. There's an actual, discrete definition for it.
Question clean. Is communism bad?
Yes, by and large, I would say.
Is fascism bad?
Yes, by and large.
Okay. But you're saying
But I strongly agree with. Well, but hold on, Pat, because again, so like, is Bernie Sanders a communist?
Yeah, let's just try this weapon out,
Communism.
actually.
Okay, but if someone said, I wonder if Ben Shapiro would say if Bernie Sanders is a communist. Probably. He's probably said something like that, right? We don't know. We don't know. But
I'm not sure.
Sure. If I was talking to a conservative commentator and he said Bernie Sanders is an example of a communist. What about, hold on,
What the hell?
Zohran Mamdani, is he a communist?
Not what I take to be communist. No.
Okay, I know for a fact there's people who call Zohran a
Wait
communist.
a second.
But I want to separate if there are people who call him that and whether I think they are. And so when you ask me, is communism bad? I have a notion of communism in my head, and I'm applying that. It's not necessarily.
Well, this is,
yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I would precisely point to as the issue, is people get called fascist or communists across the board by different people, and all these words mean different things. And so...
Did how
Well,
I
let's
describe
define it
fascism ring
then.
true to you or not?
Did it ring true to me?
Or do you
Well,
agree-
we can pick
do
it
you-
apart.
By the way, I mean, if you're talking about politics and you don't know what fascism is, just stop. Stop. Fascism is probably one of the most important, like I don't mean important like it's great, but like important, ubiquitous in the sense that it touches on so much political topics, so historically significant, probably the worst political ideology in the history of mankind, and you haven't bothered to learn anything about it? Are you fucking kidding me? And you're talking about politics? Why is that? Right? That seems either A, intentional, like why are you not trying to pay attention to what this ideology is and looking out for it? Or B, you're lying. Something's off here. Something's not right.
So,
Is that what you understand a fascist to be, or something approaching that?
is Adolf Hitler would be a fascist, obviously.
Yeah.
The Nazis would be fascist ideology.
Yes. Is there a reason you didn't want to answer my
Charlie
question?
Kirk?
So I asked you a question about my definition
Which
I
one?
provided, which was, do you think that my definition aligns with what you take a fascist to be?
Hold on,
We can go through examples if you want, but I'm just curious. Is there a reason?
We're in lawyer mode here. Pisco, we're just talking.
I know, but I'm curious if there's a reason you didn't answer.
What was the question? Is your description of fascism ring true?
Yeah. Do you think that
tell you,
tracks
yeah,
your meaning of it?
I'm not sure.
P.F. Jung is so incredibly dishonest. Let me just be completely honest with you. I don't like this guy. I think he's a piece of shit. I think he's a crypto-Nazi. Every debate I've seen him in, he's just playing like, oh, I don't know about fascism, I don't know about Nazis, I don't know about ultranationalism, it doesn't seem too bad. Interesting. And then he's always bringing up like all the like neo-Nazi, white nationalist like people that he likes a lot. And he just happens to not know anything about it. I don't think he does. I think he's a liar. And notice that his debate tactics are, oh, well, hold on, I don't know. Well, let me shift topic before you go there. Let me ask you this question. And bro, help me fight. What are you doing?
I can do.
Hold on.
I'm not defeated. No one.
So pretending like he does, and then pretends that he doesn't know
Not defeated.
what anybody's talking about when you do ask him, like spending all this time to be like, well, hold on, before we go there, before we talk about that, I don't know if he is a fascist, and what is your definition, and blah blah blah, and then finally you get him to try to answer the question, and it's like, well, I don't know, I'll have to think about that, I haven't thought about it yet. And it's like, I think that you're stalling on purpose, or I think you're trying to wiggle out of answering that question. I think you're trying to manipulate the conversation to only go where you want it to go by engaging this way. And it comes off as incredibly bad faith and dishonest.
I don't know, because if we're going to use the same word to describe the political ideology of Hitler as Charlie Kirk, it makes the word so vague, or it broadens the definition of the word so far beyond.
What is your definition?
I
This is
think
where
that
you
we'll see
probe.
that.
You ask him, what is your definition? Because you haven't even
Well, it makes
proffered
it
one.
Difficult to like.
I'm not sure
parse.
if I track that, because would you agree that Kirk was an anti-communist?
I'm not defeated. No
Yes.
way.
And surely you agree that Hitler was an anti-communist?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, does that broaden the term so much that
Exactly.
We can't have an understanding
That's a
of the
good-
term anti-communist
that's a really
just
good
because
way of
they're
going.
people who are very different?
Well, anti-communists. To define yourself in opposition of something is much different than defining yourself as a single thing.
But I'm just saying the mere fact that Charlie Kirk and Hitler are very different, and I agree, they're very different, doesn't mean that they're not both fascists, just any more than it means that they're not both
I'm not
anti-communists.
defeated. No way.
Yeah, but the reason that people throw the words fascist
That's a really good way of approaching that.
is because fascist
Rhetorically, he
means-
did a really good job. I wouldn't have thought of that way of
like
describing it.
Mehdi Hasan, like the Jubilee thing. You saw that,
Yeah.
right? The Mehdi Hasan Jubilee. Like the whole point was like,
I'm not qualified to be
Mehdi Hasan said,
The whole point is what, like, oh, you know, maybe fascism isn't so bad. Mr. P.F. Jung.
You're not going anywhere. This is the way to operate Zoids.
Shit.
I'm not defeated. No way. You're not going. I'm not defeated. No, you're not going anywhere. Give up. You don't move. This is the way to operate Zoids.
Ah. Damn it. Okay.
that, you know, well, actually, the guy
That's
self-identified
nothing
as
to
a
me.
fascist.
I just fight
But Mehdi Hasan
wars.
was like saying,
Look at that
You
dumper.
could say I'm a fascist. The implication there, and I think it's one that most people share, is that fascist by definition equals bad. Like bad, immoral thing we should
That's nothing
fight
to
against.
me. I just fight wars.
And
Yes. Yeah, I think we should.
if like,
I don't think
I
you
would say
guys agree with that.
Nazi, for sure, is that description. You know, I'm assuming you wouldn't call Charlie Kirk a Nazi.
No, I wouldn't. But you're
I guess
talking
my-
about like why people would use
Well,
a term, right? Like why
Yeah,
someone
my
might use
issue-
a term. It doesn't. Does
My-
that bear on like what you think the term means?
That's
Thank
the
you,
only
partner.
words ultimately mean what people think they mean. That's the only.
I understand.
that
I
words
agree
mean.
that use is meaning, but like, is the reason why one would use a word, is that in your mind defining the scope of what that word means to you? Because I hear this a lot.
Yes,
Like,
100%.
okay, so
Because
you-
words mean what they mean.
can do
So if I call you, if someone calls someone else a Nazi,
You see?
you know, there's an intent on, you know, there's like, fuck this guy's a bad person, we need to fight against him. The word fascism is basically used interchangeably with Nazi in the popular discourse.
You're not going anywhere.
In a
Would you
sense,
agree with
yeah.
that?
I don't think that's used interchangeably. I think it's often
Really?
used in conjunction, but I don't think that they're used interchangeably.
I think the average person,
I think the
If
average
someone is
person
like,
views the
this person's
Nazis
a
as an
Nazi,
example of
the
fascism.
signal that they are receiving is essentially the same as if someone says this person's a Nazi.
And the same with the term racist.
Yeah.
But you would never
Yeah.
say, well, racist is the same as fascist and Nazi because they all are conjoined together in this list of explicatives. You know, like, I don't take, just because the word is being used maybe to flatten conversation or being used as a pejorative, like, I think the word still has a meaning.
Sure.
And that
You
word,
could say dummy. Yeah, you could say asshole.
right, so
Was Hitler an asshole? Like, yes.
So I want to be
yes, I
very
agree.
specific on this, like, little
Dude,
point
the
that I'm
Iron
making. This
Kong
little
is
point I'm making
OP as
why
fuck.
someone might
I'm
invoke
glad
the
I bought
word,
this. This is a good investment.
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily
makes, like,
dictate
early
its
game
its
pretty
usage
easy.
in the sense of how it's understood. So I might be calling you a fascist for negative reasons or because I'm bad faith or whatever, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the term fascist is like ought to be defined some other way or ought to be narrowed beyond its like technical meaning or whatever it is that you want to talk about. I think that in order to show that Kirk is or is not a fascist, it should start and end first with a semantic analysis of what you take fascist to mean and seeing if it applies to Charlie Kirk. But it seems like what we're doing here is having some theory of words that is like Well, the word fascist shouldn't include Charlie Kirk, because if it did,
Because I
include
like Charlie Kirk. I think
would be
he's a
too
good
broad.
guy.
And I just like, you could have that kind of prescriptive view about what words should mean. I just don't share that intuition.
That's fair. That's why we're discussing this. My
Oh my God.
concern, I was thinking about why,
I'm not qualified.
what the thesis for the video would be of like, why do I even care about this? Of talking
Serious?
about like fascism and all that. It's such a
Who even
internet
cares
thing.
about like
And
fascism,
the reason is
smashism?
because
Get those
we're at a point
minorities out of my country,
where,
right? That's
terms
basically.
like fascism are thrown around so loosely.
They're not
so
thrown around,
often
actually. I think,
by
you know,
people-
you guys
I mean, the
support someone who
majority of
tried to
people who are-
overthrow the
who are
country. I don't think that's throwing it around. I think you guys are just beyond the fucking
participating
pale.
in the political
And you can't see
discourse
yourselves in a mirror.
probably don't even know who Giovanni Gentile is. They probably barely know who Mussolini is. I mean, they know who Mussolini is, but they don't,
See, in this,
know any
this
of the history of
pay attention
fascism or
here.
whatever.
Pay attention here.
And so, like, the
He
problem is,
pretends
I
earlier
agree,
on in
and
the
some sense
convo.
I'm more interested in the.
He pretends he doesn't know what the term fascism means. And then he throws around, right, Giovanni Gentile, Mussolini. The only reason you would know these names is if you know something about their ideology, if you knew something about fascism. P.F. Jung is a dishonest debater. He's a crypto-Nazi. His whole political project is to peddle neo-Nazism and fascism as normal, as cool, as, oh, just kind of the cool vibe. You know, I'm just a normie dude, and I like, you know, it doesn't seem too bad, right? But he pretends like he's not. He pretends like, I don't know anything about fascism. What is fascism? Oh, that's interesting. It doesn't seem so bad. Maybe I'm one of them then. Maybe they have a good point. Meanwhile, he seems to know a lot about fascism, actually. He seems to know who Giovanni Gentile is, Mussolini, you know, the Nazis, the distinction between a Nazi and a fascist, that the Nazis were anti-communist, right? He seems to know quite a bit more than he lets on.
Let's talk about fascism as like the Italian concept. For example, how it differed from the Nazi concept, because it's actually kind of insane based on some of the research I've done. The degree to which the Italian fascism just straight up was at 100% odds with the Nazi biological racism, they called it. And there were many Italian fascist Jews.
Although over time, you know, Mussolini borrowed from Hitler, and
Of course, yeah, he
it
got
started
little
to
brother by
merge.
Hitler.
And then he started to implement Nuremberg-style laws, and you know,
Yep.
kicking out Jews. I think he sent a bunch of Jews.
But it doesn't matter. I mean,
camps as well.
fascism
So-
isn't
so
about
I agree with you
Jews
that-
specifically. It's
I
about
think
like this ethno-nationalism.
You know who TK
And that could
is?
manifest in a variety of
No,
ways
no,
with different
He's a YouTube
ethnicities.
channel.
What do you say?
He's like he's like a neoliberal cut, you could say. But he does like historical analysis of fascism and Hitler and all that. And I watched one of his videos, and he claimed that the number, I think that like the number of Jews that were killed in Italy or even handed over were basically zero, even when they were allied to Hitler. That's fact check. We can fact check.
Yeah,
that,
we can
but-
fact check.
Yeah. But my point is, what's indisputable is like the Giovanni Gentile strain of fascism explicitly rejects racism. Like Benito Mussolini. Have you seen the J-Reg video?
Fascism really got a bad name from the Nazis. I feel like as soon as I say that sentence, I shouldn't continue the thought. But if you just look at fascism as an ideology, there's nothing that says it has to be racist. Like, let me read you a quote, okay? I know I'm losing you. Let me read you a quote. Race, it is a feeling, not a reality. 95% at least is a feeling. Nothing will ever make me believe that biologically pure races can be shown to exist today. National pride has no need of the delirium of race. Benito Mussolini, fascism inventor, guy that invented fascism in a basement, in a garage, with just a dream and a couple of guys. This is like
I don't know if J-Rug's being ironic. It's fucking stupid that he's even saying this, because I'm pretty sure that the Mussolini regime, at least late into the Mussolini regime, was utilizing nationalist, how do I put it, like nationalist stereotyping and divisiveness, supremacy, and purging of minorities in the country. Mussolini utilized racism. This is kind of like when people say, "Well, communism technically isn't authoritarianism because there's supposed to be no money and no classes and no state." And it's like, okay, well, how did the communist regimes actually manifest? Oh, they were all authoritarian dictatorships. Okay, cool. Well, fascism might be the same way, where one guy who wrote theoretically on what he wanted it to be doesn't actually describe the historicity of it, what it actually was in reality. So yes, Benito Mussolini and his fascist regime utilized and enforced racism, especially in the later years of his rule. Yes. It wasn't the dominant thing that he used to organize his movement initially, but he found that it worked really well with his base. Why did it work really well with his base? Probably the same reason that it worked really well with the base of the Nazis. The same reason it works really well in Brazil with, what is that leader's name, the one who's in prison now? It worked even in in Franco's regime. I'm pretty sure Franco utilized. Let's see. Francoism, racism, was characterized by authoritarianism and extreme violence, but its approach to race was complex and differed significantly from the Nazi ideology. Rather than focusing on biological purity, the Franco regime's racism was rooted on a blend of nationalism, Catholicism, and colonial paternalism. Unlike the biological racism, Franco's embodied the idea that the Spanish race was a unique blend of different peoples, including Romans, Visigoths, and Moors. This notion of racial fusion was also used to suggest Spain's racial exceptionalism and moral superiority over other European colonial powers. So you see, they also utilize racism too, ethno-nationalism. I mean, to call ethno-nationalism racism at this point is an academic pretense. It's the same bullshit, and always is the same bullshit. All of these regimes, the majority of them, regardless of what this one fucking quote from this asshole said, they all utilized ethno-nationalism and ethnic, supremacism. That's what it was all about.
The creator of fascism explicitly saying
CEO
race
of
is mostly
fascism.
gobbledygook. Now, this was shortly before he got little broed into being racist by Hitler.
Yeah,
but,
see,
Hitler
there you
ruined
go.
a lot of things, the pencil mustache, the Roman salute, fascism as a concept.
But like, this is my issue of like, okay, well, hold on. If we're going to discuss the ideology of fascism, well, are we going to use the Giovanni Gentile sort of ideological strain of thought, or are we going to use the Nazi?
Why don't we
one,
just
or are
look
we gonna
at
call
the
Charlie Kirk this and all that? It's
commonalities,
like,
the pattern that we see in history of how they actually
there is no
manifested?
consensus
The
on
same
this.
way that we view communism.
And that's
Instead
a
of playing
problem,
like this
and
game,
because-
the semantic game.
it's so like, yes, for communism, it's like, yeah, communism, as I understand it, and if we're going to use it in the broadest sense, bad form of government, absurd. However, I agree with a lot of what many people who call themselves communists, or at least don't care about the label of communists, say. Like, wealth inequality is a major problem. It's sort of the basis of power. And like, if you're talking about the third position is the Giovanni Gentile fascists or whatever, it's like, I agree a lot with people who say like, yeah, we should have a strong national identity. That I do think more that, the idea of like a nation of individuals and having our conceptions of liberty and freedom be that of negative freedom rather than positive freedom, I don't think that's necessarily a good model. I do think it's good to have to instead of saying, well, like, America is a country of individuals where everyone can pursue their own ends and freedoms, it's like, no, America is one nation with a common destiny. And that is more in the mythological underlying narrative of people, fascistic, in the same way that, like, I really think wealth inequality is a real problem that we need to take, like, strong action to address. Well, that's what communists would say. So it's like, I agree with, depending on how you define fascists and communists, a lot of these people. But the problem is like, well, Hitler's and the Nazis are called fat, and it's like that.
We can just clarify
I
our
precisely
terms,
reject that.
right? Like, so I hear a lot of what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of it. So,
So I think the thing here is he's saying like he's a nationalist, but not necessarily a fascist, because here's the thing. Fascism is authoritarian nationalism, okay? The nationalism part in there, yes. What was the other part of that? Authoritarian. So the question now is P.F. Jung authoritarian? And I would say that he probably is, because even though I think he plays footsie with it, I think that he is a Trump supporter. His rhetoric is Trump supporter directionally. I would be willing to bet that if you were to poll his audience, the majority of them voted for Donald Trump. So he does support the authoritarianism, and he also couples it with his nationalism. Now, are there potentially people out there who are nationalistic but aren't authoritarian? Yeah, it probably exists. But it's probably not P.F. Jung, and it's probably not the rest of these motherfuckers who pretend Remember, he's been bad faith in this entire conversation because he knows more than he lets on, and he plays dumb. And he plays word games.
Extent that like there are things from various different ideologies that you can agree with. Like there's some aspects maybe of the way that communists look at history that you might find it's informative. There are some aspects of public work projects that you might find even like Nazis had a good idea on public work projects, or that communists had great ideas when it came to this or that. So I agree that just incorporating some like good ideas from otherwise bad ideologies doesn't make you the thing itself. And I agree that like there are different strains of thought about what these terms mean, different proffered definitions, but you and I, we can just clarify what we mean by the term. And it seems like there's a desire on your part to get to like the normative, like what fascism should be. But first, I think we should like talk about what fascism you take to mean, whether or not it should be used one way or the other. Like, what do you understand fascism to be, and does Charlie Kirk fit the bill? What you'll often hear, I think, from certain people who fight on the is Trump a fascist, is they'll say, well, has Trump instituted the Holocaust? Well, has Trump totally ended democracy yet? Or has Trump made any effort to throw people into camps, at least, or denaturalize people? It's funny because now he is trying to do denaturalization, which was something that the Nazis did. But like, they'll try to have this threshold of action that until Trump does a World War II style event, until Trump actually puts Jews in ovens, he's not a fascist. And that is just collapsing on itself. I'm assuming that you don't take one of those preposterous views. And so we can just work with whatever your notion of fascism is. And if the conclusion on your notion of what fascism is that Charlie Kirk is a fascist, then like, I'm sorry, that's just your meaning of the term fascist would include Charlie Kirk. But like, let's work with it. Let's see. So what do you
Hold on. Well, because the reason I've come here is because my primary concern is with how most people use the term. Right? We're in a meme war. We're in an ideological civil war, and it is made up of memes being spread around and people arguing over terms. And so the reason I am interested in this topic at all is precisely because I'm trying to gauge and understand and predict
I'll show you the power.
like how the language and the discourse is going to evolve, and what the implications that will have for certain ideologies gaining influence over others. Like, for example, the far right, new right, Nick Fuentes type, Curtis Yarvin, even though there's differences there and all that. Like,
Yeah, case in point, right? Nick Fuentes is becoming normalized within the Republican Party. Is it a coincidence that you have all these fascists, all these white nationalists, all these neo-Nazis in your party? No. It's because they probably are fascists, they probably are neo-Nazis, and you're normalizing it. You're having normalize it.
My working theory is that because fascism is being used in a very loose way,
Wait,
broadly speaking, not by specific individuals,
no, but
on the whole.
I just want to say, like, there's one conversation of, is it being used in a loose way? That's a claim, right? And until, like, in order to make that claim...
I'm just taking that for granted. I don't even want to argue with that about you, because I'm observing the discourse.
For the audience, but understand, in order to make the claim that fascism, the word, is being used in a loose way, you would have to have a self-standing notion of fascism by which to compare and say, well, this is not in a line with the...
I disagree.
How could you say that?
I object.
Yeah.
I could just make up a word right now. Blork.
Blork.
And if Blork was used to describe such a broad array of things that had not enough commonality, then I wouldn't need to have a definition for the word Blork. I could just say the word Blork it doesn't signify anything of importance.
So when you're saying, okay, so what about the term human? The term human can be applied to every human. Is that a term that is being used too loosely?
No, because dogs are not human.
Oh,
Humans
okay.
very clearly defined
Dogs
by things that
dogs are not fascists. Insects are not fascist. Rocks are not fascist. So it's not being used too loosely.
Fascist?
Yeah, dogs aren't fascist. So do you understand what I'm saying? Like, in order to say something is being...
German shepherds are a little...
So loosely is a referential word. Loosely is with respect to something, right? It's loose with respect to its proper meaning. It's loose with respect to... I mean, used in a way that is not productive or not useful. That's what I mean. I think that's the conversation that you're interested in. You're not actually interested in the conversation of, is Charlie Kirk a fascist? You're interested in the conversation of, should we call Charlie Kirk a fascist,
Yeah,
regardless
100%. Oh, well,
regardless
yes.
of whether he is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold on. No, not regardless of whether. Hold on. I utterly, and you're a lawyer, so this is the opposite of. We have completely different lenses here that we're looking at. Of like, I don't regard. Like I regard it as a.
Sorry, can you just give me 1 second? I had just said, and I'm going to listen to what you just said. I just said the conversation you're interested in having. Sorry, that was gross. The conversation that you're interested in having, I don't think is Charlie Kirk a fascist. It's regardless of whether or not, if Charlie Kirk is a fascist, should we call him that and should we use the term fascist? Which is like a normative conversation.
There is that conversation. I think there's something deeper going on here, actually, which is, I think P.F. Jung is implicitly asking the question to the audience and to himself, and pretending that he's not. But I think the real question that he's asking is actually, is fascism that bad? Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe the Nazis weren't that bad. That's where he's going with all this.
Conversation as opposed to like a descriptive one, which is given a set meaning, is he this? So that's what I'm seeing as your interest has to do with like, what are the effects of calling these people fascists, regardless of whether the term, as properly understood, applies to them.
No, because saying regardless of whether or not the term... I'm questioning the idea that the term can even... I'm questioning the idea that the term even has... Because if we say, is it fascist to subjugate people on the basis of race? The
Not by itself, right?
Yeah, but yes, but people would point that to, like you said, it's a cluster phenomenon, right? So, you know, it's like a DSM thing, or if you check 5 out of 7 or whatever. Which, I mean, I would argue that's all concepts. It's like a Wittgenstein.
I totally would agree with that it's all concepts. But, like, I want to narrow the thing right there. Like, it seems...
Notice how he can't just answer the question. Notice that he went into this whole, like, well, that's an interesting question. It actually reminds me of Wittgenstein and it. Why? Because I feel like this isn't the first time that Pisco has tried to ask or suss this question out. Why can't he just answer the question? Because he's bad faith. Because he is a solipsism. He is a solipsism. What do you call it? There's a term. What's the conjugation of solipsism for a person that engages in it? Solipsism. Am I even using that term correctly? No, not solipsism. Okay. Shit, what's that term? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Seems that you are uninterested in discussing whether or not he is or is not a fascist.
Okay, hold on. What is your motivation in this? What are you interested in?
Bro, why can't you just answer that fucking question? God, dude, it's just so fucking dishonest.
I just was here to answer your questions about executive theory, and I thought they were very interesting questions and very interesting things you brought up.
Right.
So I'm just doing that.
Yeah, I know. This feels very lawyerly because normally my motivations are. I suppose. Hold on. I guess I'll be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it's like, is Charlie Kirk a fascist? It's like whether or not Charlie Kirk is a fascist depends on whether or not Hitler is a fascist. And generally, it's like I don't like. There is a practical thing of like I'm not going to use the same word to describe Hitler as Charlie Kirk. Now you would point out, like, well, what about like race? Well, we could just say like racist or mean, even like mean.
Yeah.
Thank
Like,
you,
was Charlie
partner.
Kirk mean? It's like, yeah. Was Hitler mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but at a certain point, using
depends what we
the
mean,
same
right?
word like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because think about this,
my
right?
point.
If you mean interpersonally mean, by all accounts, Charlie Kirk was nice as hell. That's what TYT said.
I don't know. I disagree. I think he was a smug little
That's
bastard.
what I mean. So that's what I mean. Like, it matters what you mean. Like,
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler, he was someone who, on occasion, was very soft-spoken and apparently really loved his dog. Right? Was obsessed with his dog. So it depends what you mean by nice or mean in that sense. Like, it really, really does matter. Now, you could take the view is, I don't want to say anything of Hitler that's true of Charlie Kirk. And some people think the view that Charlie Kirk, for example, is
I don't wanna
racist.
say that's true, of course. Like I would like
Some people say that Charlie Kirk is racist, right? I'm not saying that I said he's probably racist, but I put that aside.
I think everyone's
He,
probably
I don't think. and maybe that's true.
No, stop.
I don't think that he's racist in the way that Hitler's racist. But there,
This is the
or you
power.
could say something like this: like, you could make, I think, a strong argument that there are some black nationalists who are racist as fuck, or that Malcolm X said things that were super racist. But do I think that they're racist in the same way as Hitler, or racist in the same way as your average Southern Democrat in
A
the
very
KKK
good
era?
faith.
Probably not.
Patient
So
description by
there can
Pisco.
be a great deal
Right.
of additional conversation to clarify what we mean by terms, and maybe you're frustrated that that's not happening when people just throw around the label fascist.
well.
I need a sniper in this game.
Yeah, that's part of it. But like your point about racist, it's like that's precisely why I think the term racist has lost all its calling someone a racist means absolutely nothing nowadays.
No,
You
it
can
does.
ask
You
people
just
what
don't
they
like.
mean by the term. Right? It's like if you're in a conversation with someone,
You just
and
don't like
say,
what it means.
Hey, what do you when you call Charlie
Because it
Kirk a racist?
implicates
What do you
you.
actually mean by
And
that?
people that you
let me,
empathize with.
You know who Alex O'Connor is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Alex Connor said I'm not
It's
racist.
sort of
Okay,
a
cool.
theory of knowledge called emotivism. Maybe it's a
That's his. I think. Yeah, I think it's his moral outlook.
moral philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Where like, boo. What is this thing? It's like if you don't like Hitler, you say like boo Hitler. It's like, is boo Hitler a true statement? It's like, no, it's an expression of a sentiment. And it's true that you might feel that way, but like you can't logically parse boo Hitler. It's just like it's an expression of emotion.
You're saying that he's taking the view that
This is the
moral
power.
propositions are not truth apt.
Correct. And so
Yeah.
I subscribe to the degree that I understand that aligns with certain with
What a long waste of time way to just get to the point that, hey, morality is subjective. Yeah, no shit. Thank you. Thanks for welcome to the conversation.
sort of
Welcome to
pragmatist
politics.
view of language and morality. And so that's why I have an issue with it's just like when people say someone's a fascist, they don't. The people who are calling Charlie Kirk a fascist, not you, the majority of the people, the majority of the discourse that is going on amongst the normies or the moderately politically engaged people, they are not calling people fascist because they meet a set of criteria.
I think they are,
literally
actually.
mean fascist equals enemy. Fascist equals bad person.
It's both.
It's like it's
Fascism
more than a
should be your
motivist
enemy.
expression.
It should be
I
a bad
believe- and
thing.
I'm saying and I'm taking this is an assumption. I don't want to argue about this. I suppose we could have excluded. Like I'm just taking that based on my observation of that is how the word is being used. And so my I agree that we do need to have a discussion about like the definitions of fascism and the Giovanni Gentile versus the Nazi biological fascism and all that stuff, the biological racism and all that. And it's just like that's what I'm generally interested in, and I'm in lawyer mode now defending myself. Even though I'm not like I don't even know what I'm arguing. I'm telling you.
You know you're arguing.
Yeah, let's take a step back.
So we can talk about Charlie Kirk. We can
Yeah.
talk about Charlie Kirk.
Well, let's take a step back. So I kind of view the
Yeah.
conversation in different ways, right? Like, I'm personally interested.
Notice that.
At
Just
this,
like Richard Dawkins and Jordan Peterson talking.
Sure, yeah. I kind of see there's a conversation about like what is fascism? Is it being misapplied
This is the
by
power.
the left, or by Democrats, or by this or that?
Sure.
That is a conversation that fundamentally relies on what the meaning of the term fascism is and how
I'll show you
people
the power.
mean it when they use it. That's number one. Like, so the conversation about is the label being misapplied?
It's not though. That's saying
relies
it's accurate,
on
and I think
there
even the average
being
person that's using it
some
has
cashing
a
out of the
pretty
meaning
like
of the term.
loosely
That's what
accurate understanding
that's
of
what I
why
just said
they're
about the
using it.
emotivism thing. I don't agree with that.
With the meaning of
There's
word,
no meaning.
So words have meaning, right? You understand words to,
Thank you,
in
partner.
order for us to even be intelligible, right? You have to understand the words I'm saying. Whether you're a motivist
This
or not,
is
I
a
understand motivism to
Wittgenstein
be
idea.
related to moral propositions, not necessarily the meaning of a word.
Well, but meaning is we define meaning. It's like
I gotta
meaning
get
is
out of the
degree
range
to
of
which
these
it
missiles.
has salience to one's behavior and emotion. So if I say Charlie Kirk, that's that person doesn't like Charlie Kirk. So Charlie Kirk is a
Well, then
fascist.
they're being correct, right? So if you take
And I would say Charlie Kirk is a fascist is a similar.
okay,
for many people,
but
that's
then
how they're using it.
If you're understanding Charlie Kirk is a fascist to mean boo Charlie Kirk, or I don't like Charlie Kirk, then
Yes.
to the degree that it's making any statement, it's something to the effect of I disapprove of Charlie Kirk. That probably accurately reflects their views, their subjective
Because
views. in
they
which case
disagree
they're
with
not saying
fascism.
anything wrong, right? So then,
But my point is, it has absolutely nothing. It almost always has absolutely nothing to do with the degree to which Charlie Kirk exemplifies the Giovanni Gentile, like ideological
Well,
notion.
that's
Bro,
a kid.
no one gives a shit about. I'm sorry, no one cares about the Giovanni Gentile edition of fashion. No one gives a fuck, bro. We're talking about the definition that basically all of us have a loose, broad understanding from history and its practice and application in different people who have subscribed to it and killed and shed blood in its name. Like there's a broad topic. It's not just Giovanni Gentile. Alright, I keep getting my ass fucking kicked in this battle. I gotta have something on my team to fucking even the playing score here. What's going on? The only thing is, I don't know if I have enough money to like buy any more upgrades or whatever to... Oh, you know, I could afford this. This does do a little bit more damage than the other one I had. And it's better at targeting too. Let's give that a shot.
But that's this kind of conversation that you're not as much interested in. What I'm saying is like the meaning of the term fascism. That's a conversation we can have, and then we can get into, well, is it aligning with the historical, technical, or emotivist meaning of the term fascism as you understand it? That's the meaning conversation. Separately from that, I kind of view a potential normative conversation, which is something like, well, we don't care what the term is, we just should just stop using it in this context. But then you're going
Because
to have
it
to make
hurts
the
my
case,
feelings.
which I think a lot of
Basically
people
is
don't
really
like
what
to
the
make,
argument is.
that we shouldn't call people what they are. Like we shouldn't use terms as they're understood, as as applied to individuals. And oftentimes people will say something like, well, if you're a woman, I'm going to call you a woman. I don't care if you want to be called a man. And in the context of the trans conversation. And so we're running up against, if you take the view that people should stop calling Charlie, and we have that normative conversation, then you're running up against, I think...
Bro, who shot me?
Because it's a helpful marker for me to identify what they believe.
who? You mean the people who are calling them fascists?
Yeah.
So what are you interested in? Are you interested in the descriptive, like what is fascism? What's the meaning? Is it being misapplied? Or are you in conversation and interested in like the normative question of like, should he be called this? Shouldn't he?
Again, when I was sitting out writing, like, what am I going to write for this video? I was like, why am I interested in this? Again, my thing is I see people getting called fascists all the time, but then I compare it to like the Giovanni Gentile. There's a lot.
Bro,
like I said,
stop!
there's
Okay,
a lot
who
that
cares
people-
about
there's a
the
lot
Giovanni Gentile?
that people who would be described as fascist and like the Giovanni Gentile fascists.
Oh, no, Giovanni
believe
Gentile.
that I would agree with. Exactly the same way that there's a lot of communists and Marxists and
Well, bro, maybe
stuff.
coming to I don't know, a wake up moment in your life. Well, maybe you're fascist. You ever considered that? I started reading Hitler. I actually agreed with a lot of things that he said. Well, you don't fucking say. Wow, interesting guy. Way to self-report.
Did they say that I would believe? And I guess maybe to be more important or more drill it down more. It's not just like I agree, like Hitler loved dogs. It's like so I agree with Hitler on something. It's like no. What I talked about earlier about the fundamental idea of like liberalism versus liberalism as a collection of individuals all pursuing their own ends, liberty being the highest value. It's like that's like the fundamental, arguably like the fundamental basis of the United States and kind of liberal ideology. And I'm saying
He doesn't like that though. He doesn't think that's
sympathize
that great.
more
Yeah, there you go.
the
with
Again, you can
the
call it-
national identity. Yes.
As soon as I say I sympathize more with this, the fascist description of this, it's like the Hitler loves dog thing. It's like you can be someone who's not a fascist and
No, maybe you're
and
just a
agree that
fascist,
actually,
bro.
the conception of America we should have is not one of a bunch of
Maybe you just
individuals
don't
doing
like
their
the
own thing
moniker
and
because it makes you feel like,
I'm not sure
oh,
you can say that
America
unless you
as
have a
a
notion of what.
collective
I'm not sure you can say that unless you have a notion of what fascism is. You just said you can be a fascist if X, Y, Z, or you cannot be a fascist if X, Y, Z. But in order to even say that statement, you'd have to have some notion of fascism that you're using, right? So
Yeah, okay, let's go with the Giovanni Gentile.
why?
Okay, so-
Stop.
So describe
Strain of fascism.
describe that strain to me in a way that you. So this is the strain that you, when you use the term fascism, is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know.
I think you're hesitant because
No.
I think that it's possible.
Because I know how people. Because see, it's like saying it's like if I. Okay, words have multiple meanings. So if I say
I think
the
I
word-
figured
if
out how to
say the
finally
word
beat this goddamn thing.
F-A-G-G-O-T.
Yeah, yeah.
That word has different meaning. Now you can say, oh, it's a bundle of sticks and twigs. It's like, well, you should go around and tell people, go like, just start using
Well, just
a term.
just be clear about what you mean, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, stop playing these
so
games.
you can say that the word is so distasteful, it's like a slur that I don't want
It
to
is,
use.
yes, correct. Because hold on, again, when people think of fascist,
They think, yeah, you're a bad person. Sorry, bro.
right?
Sorry, your ideology makes you a
So,
bad person in most people's eyes. What do you want me to tell you?
Okay, don't say. Well, we're going to define. We're going to go down. We're going to use the Giovanni.
You know, we haven't tried.
Which
We just haven't tried the real fascism yet.
Yeah.
These guys are unironically like the tankies. They're like, real communism has never been tried. This time around, when we do fascism, we're gonna do it better than Hitler did. Okay, cool.
Like the post-racial fascism ideas there. It's like I agree with that aspect of fascism, that race is irrelevant to the the destiny of it. Like a nation can be a nation of many races. I agree with that. I like that.
See, but I don't think he believes that either. I think he's full of shit when he says this, because if you watch previous debates with him, like when he's talking about the Sam Hyde video over immigration, he agrees with this whole idea of like a ethnic national identity. So P.F. Jung is just dishonest. He's just a crypto-Nazi. He wants to normalize Nazism, and he does it in discreet little doses, like he's doing here. You know, I'm gonna pretend that I don't have like ethnic preferences, but I'm also gonna talk about how, actually this kind of fascism actually doesn't seem too bad. Charlie Kirk don't seem too bad.
You're just telling me things about aspects that you agree with, but
Yeah.
But ultimately,
Right, that's my point. I guess what's the point of even describing it as?
You just said basically what I heard you say is the word is like the word the F slur for gay people, and I don't even want to legitimize its usage by squaring down and centralizing a meaning that I am using. That I prefer to keep it ambiguous because I just don't want to legitimize what the word is. And you could take that view, but I think it's a kind of proprietary view. Not even conservatives take this view. Like,
What is it? What is proprietary?
It means
that the word
exclusive to you.
fascism is alike those racial slurs that, in their own nature, are kind of like verbal utterances that should be like in and of themselves condemned. You understand what I'm saying? So there are some words
should be condemned.
So the utterance themselves, right, like the word usage itself, should be
any of these
curtailed
missiles reading.
because of its harmful effects.
I'm not saying it should be curtailed.
That's what I'm saying. Is like
I'm pointing out that that's how people are using the term.
wait,
Now hold on. Okay, hold on. Because all right, we're getting drilled down here. And again, this is very good wording and stuff. This is not mine. This is not.
sure.
Maybe we can move to a broader philosophical discussion of like why even care about this. Yeah. Okay. So let's put the fascism aside for a moment, or we'll go by
This guy's
individual
committing a
Point
genocide against
at the basis of it. The
against
idea that
epistemology
America
at this
is
point.
a-
Like, what the
is-
fuck
is-
are we
is
talking
one
about?
nation
This
with
is
a
just
common
so
destiny,
incoherent
divided
bullshit
collection
because
of
he just doesn't want to be honest.
What do you think of that?
I think you're playing
And I don't have,
games.
like, a hardcore definition. I'm asking you like
With a
how we-
common
conversation.
destiny, depends how loosely that destiny can be understood.
What the fuck does that
But
even
in
mean,
general, I don't have
by
a
the way?
problem with that, and I'm sure there's some looseness. If the destiny is something approaching freedom and prosperity,
How
then
about
yes.
positive freedom versus negative freedom? You're familiar with that distinction?
Yeah.
I see. I lean more strongly to the positive freedom dimension. I think negative freedom.
That's a little bit of both,
Okay,
honestly.
we differ on that. Where I think
Okay.
I would more stress negative freedoms.
Yeah,
But
I think Okay.
But,
see,
like,
this-
what are we talking about now? Like, it seems like now that there's this central premise that there's some aversion. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Maybe it's the right thing to be averse to it because, you know, there are individuals potentially who could take words that we use and out of context or in context and use them as a justification for something. But tell me if I'm wrong, that I'm sensing some trepidation about clearly demarcating fascism or adjacent terms and getting a proper understanding of their scope. Because if I were to do that, I think that there are uncomfortable entailments that follow.
Yeah, very
Yeah, you're not. It's not
astute.
possible to do that.
What do you mean it's not possible?
Okay,
What do you
we
mean by it's not possible? It's not possible to define a word or understand its meaning?
We're having it. I sense you're in lawyer mode.
I'm not in lawyer mode. I'm really trying to
Yeah,
have
you
this
are.
conversation.
Because we just talked about this.
No, but we can stop the conversation about fascism and move on and be like, I don't want to talk
Ask you
about
to do.
it.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
We're getting to the broader. We're getting to the liberal.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking the positive
All
freedom
right.
versus negative freedom thing. So you're against negative freedom, or you're against positive freedom,
No, I think that there's
or you're against the conception of liberty as positive freedom.
my view of like I don't really have a properly scoped out normative ethical frame or whatever. But in general, my
it was so
intuition is
close.
that I care much more about
This is the power.
negative freedoms and freedoms from oppression from the government than I do about the government having some obligation to provide for you. That said, I'm like a liberal in the American sense, and so I'm generally in favor of
Yeah,
more
it's a bit of a
positive freedoms
balance.
in the government. For example, having some kind of Medicare for all or universal healthcare system. But I just value the negative freedoms much more.
Do you think that homeless people who are on the street, strung out on heroin, how should we deal with those people?
Depends. In general, I think that certain individuals who are dangerous to themselves and to their communities.
No, not.
partner.
Just
Sorry,
mean homeless
go
people in
ahead,
general. In general, I think that people have a right to be free from government intrusion, and so merely being homeless, I think, is not a crime in and of itself and can't be under our system.
You don't have to dox yourself, but what city do you live in?
New York City,
Okay, how bad is the homeless problem there?
it's bad.
I can do it.
Okay, I live in Austin. It's very bad. Like, I walk down the street and on the bench, just doing heroin. Like, no even attempt to cover it up. Strung out is all over, like that, and that's all over. People will just go down an alley, and take their pants down and piss and shit and stuff down right on the alley. Those people are free from government interference.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that those people are free in the same way that you and I are free?
This is the power.
Yeah, they're free technically. Yes, yeah, for sure. The thing that he's getting at is, and he's trying to imply that liberalism doesn't account for this. Your freedom usually ends when you're infringing on other people's freedom. And there is and I think maybe he's getting at this point of there being positive freedoms because yes, we expect the government to come in and like not allow people to shit, piss, and do drugs in public spaces. And that's a positive right? Because they're not really infringing on your right specifically, but they are kind of infringing on your ability to, enjoy your life. And so the police come in and they do something about it. Yes, but the thing is that most liberals support that already. And it's really not a question of whether or not liberalism will deal with that problem. The question is just a question of like procedural, logistical, busy, mundane application of the law, which is shooting up drugs on the street actually isn't legal, generally speaking. Shitting and defecating in public spaces also isn't legal technically. The question isn't whether or not liberalism or fascism legalizes that kind of behavior. It's really just a question of how do you mitigate that issue? How do you put resources in place to actually reduce the incidence of that? Is there a particular area where you're having a lot of that and the police presence isn't taking care of it? What does that mean? Is there something going on at the police? Are their hands tied by some kind of legislation? Do they not have the resources? What's going on there, right?
Depends. I'm sorry, I'm not praying for your Lord. Depends what you mean by free.
Well,
If you
by
mean-
your negative freedom definition. or
someone who's
lenient.
someone
But
who's
see,
strung out
again,
on-
that's the thing. Like, he doesn't have just a negative freedom definition thing. He has.
partner.
Pisco's already said, like, he values a little, like, a mixture of both. You don't need to be like, oh, I'm a positive freedom guy, I'm a negative freedom guy. You could be like, hey, a little bit of both, actually.
heroin is, I suppose, free in the sense that they have the same negative freedoms as everyone else, and so in that sense, I think they're on all fours, equally free in general.
Right, and I'm right, and my saying is, or my point would be that
This
there-
dude's
there-
fucking
there-
me up.
That kind of freedom is not something. Who cares then if that case? It's like, oh well, you're free to be strung out on heroin on the street. It's like,
Yeah.
well, that's not the kind of like to say that that person is as free as I am to pursue like a meaningful life or a fulfilled life. That's what matters more.
I just think that there's an
I mean, they
equivocation.
are.
I mean,
They're
I
just
care about
choosing
what
not
you
to.
care about too, and just well, yeah, you're here. You're pointed to someone where you're not changing some aspect about themselves that bears on their freedom. You're just changing an aspect that bears on their suffering or happiness, or whether or not they're in a good state or bad state. And it
Well,
doesn't.
I guess
Yeah, go for it.
the implication for like the setup of society would be, okay, if the goal is to optimize for freedom, okay, if we're optimizing for negative freedom, then we allow people their free choice to get heroin, and we can set up government things that help them, methadone.
I'm glad
whatever.
P.F. Jung and maybe his audience
and
finally
or,
figured out the
or,
concept of
indoors
tragedy of the
stuff.
commons.
Maximize people's
Welcome to the
negative
fucking
freedom.
club, bro. We
So
already
I'm
think
talking
about
for
this. We
positive
already
freedom.
account for this.
You say, we'll just get rid of all of it. We'll crack down on the heroin very hard, and we'll lock these people in like asylums and get them clean and force them to get clean to get off heroin. Because ultimately, the use of forcing someone to get off.
See, the part of the thing is that, like, P.F. Jung supports a political party who doesn't really want to deal with these mental health issues. That's part of the problem. What he's talking about is basically like, who disagrees with that? Oh, we should, get these people to, commit them so that they can seek psychedelic or psychiatric evaluation or psychological, whichever, right? Yeah, of course. The question isn't whether or not fascists or liberals are, in favor of this or whatever, or that you need to go support somebody like a fascist in order to get this because liberals aren't in favor of it. The question is a matter of resources, and the political party that you support does not want to put forth the resources to do these things. It doesn't matter like how much you want to take care of that problem. They don't want to take care of the problem because they don't care about these people. Their solution to the homelessness issue or the drug abuse issue is that these people should die on the streets. That's their solution. That's all they got. And that's all you're going to get from them. God damn! I was so close.
This is the power.
PK power.
Off of heroin, I would say leads to well, obviously there's cases where this can not be the case, but like in theory,
Leave it to your sister.
like taking away someone's right to do heroin arguably can make them better off in the long run, and that would be a conflation between negative and positive freedom.
I think it's just a question about like what trade-off is acceptable in any given.
Here's the thing, and this is actually intellectually consistent. I just thought about this right now. The thing about, when you come in and you commit someone, say they're a danger to themselves or others, making that determination on whether they're a danger to themselves, part of that whole idea, I think, of, this person is not in a space where they can make decisions for themselves, is the idea that you require like a healthy state of consciousness in order to be like a moral agent, like a person for the matter of like legal responsibility. It also applies if you are in a mental state that doesn't allow you to do that, right? It's kind of in the same sense that if you're drunk, you're not able to give consent. If you're strung out on drugs, then you're not really making like informed decisions for yourself.
Freedom. So like, I don't know that I believe in the negative freedom with respect to drug use. I think that drug use is something that the government can and should regulate, and so I'm not entirely convinced. Well, it's because I don't view that as a fundamental freedom, the freedom to ingest certain substances.
Cringe.
Fundamental? What do you mean fundamental freedom?
Fundamental, according to my
You're
ethical
arbitrary.
outlook as well as the Constitution. I don't think the Constitution protects one's fundamental right to
I think it does, actually.
ingest mind altering.
In fact, I think the Constitution defends your right to abuse yourself and harm yourself. Because it gives you a right to life. It gives you a right to bodily autonomy. The entire, like, theme of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is this idea that you are in control of your own life. The government's not there to tell you what to think or what to do with your life. You're able to do whatever you want, as long... The caveat, as long as you're not harming others' rights to do the same. When you are shooting up drugs in public, you're infringing on other people's rights to have a safe space, you know, for them to operate and have their children and everything, and actually live their life. You're now making it hard for them to actually just, you know, access their rights, so to speak. So at that point, it's not just a question of your rights, it's a question of you're infringing on other people's rights.
I'm not defeated. No way.
God damn it.
Controlled
Well,
substances.
Constitution doesn't protect the right to play video games, but I'm sure we
Yeah.
all agree that it would be bad. Just make video games outright illegal.
I'm not sure about that. I think that there's certain expressive activities that are covered.
You know, so it's
Like
funny
video games.
actually. Even as I say that,
Yeah.
in China they
the
shut
power.
off League of Legends and TikTok like certain hours of the day or certain times a week. I would actually be open to that. Of like actually, open to that. I mean, like I'm sympathetic with that sentiment of like maybe the federal government should do things like shut off social media for certain hours of the day or something like
I'm
that.
not too good at battles.
There's the authoritarianism combined with nationalism. That's what fascism means. It's not that complicated. Spread it far and wide. You don't need the list of 14 from Umberto Eco. Authoritarian nationalism. Alright, I've heard enough from PF Jang and his fucking nonsense, his inane bullshit. Let's move on. I want to fucking beat this battle. Oh my god.
Thank you, partner. I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
I can.
I'm not defeated. No way. I'm not defeated.
Whoosh.
I'm not defeated. No way.
Good. Fiona and Vaughn still have a lot of life.
I'm not defeated. No way. I'm not defeated. I'm not defeated. No way.
Bro, what the hell?
I'm not defeated. No way.
God God damn it.
This is the power.
Apparently not. Alright, I need some sort of like strategy change or update or upgrade. I don't think the Raptor is gonna be strong enough to like last a second out
Leave
here.
it to your sister.
The Raptor can outmaneuver, but I'd have to stay close and try to slash it. And the issue with staying close and slashing this Brachiosaur is it could turn in and just like bump into me, and it just bumping into it will do damage to me. I'll get stomped by it.
Thank you, partner. I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
Grrr.
Show me the spirit.
Ow!
I'm not defeated. No way.
Show me the spirit. Somebody help!
Bro, you ran right into that. What do you want me to tell you? Maximum concentration. We could do this.
Show me the spirit.
Not really doing a lot of damage to her from that angle, maybe.
Oomph.
Jesus.
Yeah!
Bro, what the fuck?
I'm not defeated. No way.
You gotta be,
This is the power.
Is it? Okay, let me think. Can we put the little mini boosters on this guy?
I'll show you the power.
I feel like my strategy is good. I just need Van and Fiona to perform, and we'd be hunky dory.
Thank you, partner.
You're welcome. Let's go.
I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah!
God damn it! I'm getting fucking destroyed.
Whoosh!
I'm not defeated.
Sh-
Yeah! Unlucky.
God damn it.
This is the power.
Stop saying that, damn it. Alright. Let's see if we can upgrade anything. I don't have a lot of money to upgrade, unless I like sell a Zoid or something. I guess I could maybe sell the Rev Raptor.
Leave it to your sister.
Rawr. Okay. You know what? Let's sell the Rev Raptor, I think, actually. I hate to see it go. Oh, I don't have the option of like the regular booster for this Zoid. We got this.
Thank you, partner. I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
Yeah!
Somebody help!
I'm not defeated.
Dude,
No
Van and
way.
Fiona just immediately run right into it and take massive amounts of damage. Okay, my speed should have increased. Bro, Van and Fiona, what are you doing? Bro, Van and Fiona, they're just running right into it. Stop! What are you doing? They keep running right in. Did they? Maybe they ran out of ammo?
I can do it.
Can you really? Ah!
There goes Van and Fiona. Concentration, I got this. No.
I'm not defeated. No way.
Wait, I got her? Nice. God damn, that took me forever to fucking get to that. Holy shit. Based. I'm gonna get like a D rank for this. Yep. Man, this makes me want to play some DMC. Demonic. Crazy. Badass. That's what it reminds me of. If you ever play DMC, you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Enjoy destruction.
I feel like this is the final battle of this. Is it? Let me see. Zoids, battle, legends, battle mode. Battle 11, battle 12. So I have one more battle after this one, I think. Okay, I don't know. How much money do I have? I have so little money, even from that last match. Let's just do it. Fuck it.
Thank you, partner. can do. Yeah!
Jesus, this dude's fast.
Don't relax.
Dude, my teammate's so dumb. They run right into him. My missiles hitting? They are, huh?
You're not. You're not going.
Yeah! I'm. Yeah! Ah! Yeah! I'm not.
You're not going.
I'm not defeated. No.
Oh my God.
Defeated. I'm not defeated. No way.
Can I not hit him?
I'm not defeated. No way.
I might not be able to.
I'm not defeated. No way. Ah! I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
What happened? I guess I got hit by my missile. You lose. Okay. Well, this match isn't as hard as the other one. I think I should be able to pull this off second try. Get a higher score on this one too. Actually make some money off of this battle. Oh, I bet I have to fight Raven and that other chick in the next battle. Kind of curious. Maybe I should add Zoids to the anime streaming thing. Kind of curious what the original Zoids show, the one where they're in a battle, is like. It's any good. Seems like the same studio that made the show Dot Hack Sign.
Thank you, partner.
Every time I try to watch that show, Dot Hack Sign, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah! I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
I'm not defeated. No way.
Bro,
I'm not defeated.
right out the gate, I'm getting my ass handed to me.
I'm not defeated. No way.
Bro, I can't even
I'm
move.
not defeated. No way. Yeah!
Oh no.
I'm not defeated. No way. I'm not defeated. No way.
Yeah, kick his ass, get him.
can do it!
Can you really, Van?
Unlucky!
No.
Once worthless, you're always worthless.
Okay. Hey, get off of there, my cat. Off. You're gonna get yourself hurt.
You're no match for us.
Hey, move. Move.
Thank you, partner!
We got this.
I can do... Yeah! Yeah!
You're no match for us.
Move. Move. Out of here. My cat. Just gonna mess up my game.
Yeah! Yeah!
You're no match for us.
Yeah! I'm not defeated. No way.
Oh my god, I barely dodged that.
Yeah!
You're no match for us.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Oh shit.
You're no.
I'm not defeated. No way. I'm not defeated. No way. I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
I'm being replaced.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's see, how do we do?
That had been expected.
Still got a D. Damn.
Please wait for the next battle.
Oh shit. Jeez. Let's give it a shot. I'll give it one shot. If not, we'll call it a night. And we'll come back and we'll revisit this final battle later on.
Thank you,
The cool thing is
partner.
this game has like a new game plus kind of style to it.
I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
Don't relax.
So I think I should be good. I think I just need to watch out for that laser beam.
Grr. Grr. I can do it.
Can you really, Van?
Yeah! 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 Grr. Yeah!
That was easy, all things considered.
Well, that had been expected.
It seems like the issue with that guy is he's kind of slow. Surprisingly slower than the Brachiosaur. So he can't really come up to you and just start stomping on you. And then his laser takes time to charge compared to the Brachiosaur. It seems to just fire him off. Yeah, interesting. Okay, C, not bad. You are the great warrior. Oh, thank you. So kind. How much money did I win for that? Ah ha ha! End credits. I'm digging this music in the background. It sounds like some J-rock.
Zoids Battle Legend.
Can I load the last file? How does this work? Okay, it has me start over. That makes sense. Yeah, let's do Chaotic Century now.
Brad is taking off.
Hold on. Oh, I unlocked all these people from the war era.
Starting.
Cool. Did I unlock new Zoids? Kirkland and line back.
This is the spirit of the fierce tigers.
I mean, you don't sound too sure about that. I do. I get to keep my old Zoids. Cool. How much money did I win? Not bad. Alright, so the next goal is, we'll pick this up later maybe, is I want to get me a Berserk Fury. Either that or a Strum Tiger, or a Strum Liger, or whatever it is, Strum Tyrant. A Liger would be cool too. So we'll get a Liger at some point. We'll get a Liger S, Liger 0M. And I definitely want to get a Killer Spiner at one point. Definitely gotta get one of those. So a Liger, a Berserk Fury, a Killer Spiner. Oh, we have to get Jogulus the Giga at some point. That's money. Ooh, do we want a Blade Liger or a Liger Zero? I think I'm kind of leaning towards the Blade Liger. Shadow Fox would be pretty dope too. Alright, let's crush these motherfuckers. It should be easy because my Zoids are all upgraded at this point. We shall see.
This is getting exciting. You're quite helpless. Yeah. Ooh. How about this? Ooh. See the power of the fierce tiger. I could. What? This can't be. See? Yeah! Yeah! What? You got me. I can still fight. See the power of the fierce tiger. Oh! This is the spirit of the fierce tiger. Cup of noodles again. Stop! What? Oh! What? This can't be true. How about this? What? This can't be true. What? Oh! Oh! Ah! You are going no. My tiger!
Easy money.
That was an easy victory.
Hey. Rank D still. Okay, we gotta get better.
Please wait for the next battle.
I want to switch out. I kind of needed this rocket launcher on the shoulder because honestly it's a better weapon than the other one, but I kind of want to attach the laser cannon because it gives you more like versatility and it just kind of looks cooler, to be honest with you.
I'm not easing up.
Who the fuck is this dude on the left? I don't remember him being. Why is Brad with him?
This is getting exciting. You're quite helpless. Right there.
What a gun. It's so slow.
Why don't you? Yeah.
But it has a lot of knockback power.
That's not good enough. This time, I'll go first. Yeah! Let's go. Ha! You are going nowhere. You've improved.
You want to get close, motherfucker? Fine. Shouldn't have got in my melee range. Punk ass bitch.
How about this? You're a poor loser.
Yeah, I do have a big gorilla. You should have taken that into account when you fought against me, you asshole. The guns... It's actually a shitty gun. Like, it does a lot of damage, but it's impossible to aim it. I wonder if there's a way to upgrade the gun to make it easier to aim, or upgrade my Zoid in order to make it easier to aim.
Please wait for the next battle.
What do we got? Alright.
This is getting exciting.
Okay. Which command wolf do I have, by the way? Is it just your standard ass command wolf? Maybe I need to upgrade. With attack unit. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, nah. Battle points are so much higher. Wait, what the hell? Why is this one? Oh, because of the attack unit? This sounds like a downgrade in every way. Why is it listed right here? Oh wait, how do we use the EX ability? That's what I was trying to figure out earlier. Zoids, Battle, Legends, EX. Hold A and X buttons simultaneously. Well, do it. Bum bum bum. Okay.
Brad is taking off.
Who are we fighting against again?
Leave it to me. Yeah! How about this? Yeah! This, let's go.
It's mine.
Right there. Let's go. Oh! Yeah! Yeah! How about right there?
Charge!
How, this time, I'll go first. This time, I'll go first. How about this?
How dare!
How, right there.
How
Yeah!
it's mine.
I was trying to figure out how to use that EX ability.
That was an easy victory.
A plus X at the same time.
Leave it to me.
Why did... Was there ever like a lore reason why Lena looks like a circus clown?
Brad is taking off. Yeah! You are going nowhere.
It's impossible to hit anybody with this cannon.
Leave it to me. Let's go. Yeah! Right there. Right there. Charge! Yeah! Yeah! What? This can't be. What? This can't be true. Yeah! Right. What? What? Ah! You got. Yeah! Yeah! Ah! Yeah! This time, I'll go first. You're a poor loser.
God damn it! That was so close.
That was an easy victory.
Actually, I might switch to the wolf this time around. I feel like this is gonna be my last smash.
Leave it to me.
Alright, let's do this. That gun's cool on the gorilla, but it's impossible to aim that damn thing.
This is getting exciting. You're quite helpless. How about this? Let's go. quite helpful. Let's go. Let's go. How about this? Let's go. Hey,
Got
you
him.
can't do that. That was an easy victory.
The Command Wolf's got to be on like the top 5 Zoids. So cool looking. I want to get me a Command Wolf set. This one right here, hell yeah. Oh, this is $200 fucking dollars. Holy shit. That's gonna be a no on that one. There's gotta be a cheaper one.
Let me enjoy this.
I feel like this has gotta be an easy match. So who are we getting next? I feel like maybe like a blade legger or something. Oh, this is just the regular legger. Chill legger. There we go, there's a blade legger.
Let's go. You're quite helpless. Yeah, how about this? Not yet. How about this? Yeah.
Easy money. Gotta give me like a B at least for that performance. Come on now. Come on. Come on. God, see? Come on.
Please wait for the next battle.
How much money do I have?
I'm not wounded
That's a good combination. You got the speed and you got the might. Got the tank and you got the assassin. 39. Okay, we're getting closer. Alright, we're gonna call that a night then. Save this. Alright, I think we're good. Okay, cool. That's gonna be the end of that. Have a good night, y'all. Bye.